Out in the deep Pacific, far beyond the shipping lanes and the glow of coastal cities, something ancient stirs beneath the waves, a grinding of plates, a release of pressure built over decades. A movement so vast no human eye can see it, but every instrument on the seafloor feels it. This is the Pacific Ring of Fire, a 40,000-kilometer chain of fractures, volcanoes, and tectonic boundaries responsible for 90% of the world's earthquakes. And in 2025, the region reminded the world why it carries that name. The warning that woke the ocean at 3:17 a.m. Sensors anchored off the coast of the Kamchatka Peninsula detected a sudden shift, a thrust motion along the Kamchatka subduction zone. Moments later, a magnitude 7.8 quake shook the seabed, followed by a series of aftershocks rippling outward like rings in a pond. Within minutes, ocean buoys began transmitting something that made officials sit up straight. Not a tsunami. Not yet, but a vertical displacement of water large enough to trigger a regional alert across Japan, Taiwan, the Philippines, Alaska, and parts of coastal China. The Pacific Tsunami Warning Center sent the advisory with carefully measured words. No destructive tsunami expected at this time. However, sea level fluctuations and strong currents may occur. Populations in coastal regions should remain alert. It was not a crisis. But it was a reminder, and in this part of the world, reminders matter. Why this region is always on edge. Taiwan's mountains rise from the collision of the Philippine Sea Plate and the Eurasian Plate. Japan sits atop 4 intersecting plates. The Philippines rests on the Manila Trench, one of the most tsunami-generating trenches on Earth. From Indonesia to Alaska, every coastline in the Pacific shares the same fate. The land they stand on is temporary. In 2025, seismic activity across the Pacific had been unusually high. Clusters of moderate quakes rattled Hokkaido, while tremors were felt in eastern Taiwan and Luzon. Scientists don't call this a sign of something bigger, because earthquakes don't follow simple patterns, but they do call it what it is, a period of elevated movement. An elevated movement along the Ring of Fire always grabs attention. The race for minutes in Japan's Meteorological Agency headquarters in Tokyo, screens showed a map pulsing with red sensors. Algorithms ran thousands of simulations, calculating potential wave heights in case the seabed rupture expanded. Meanwhile, emergency management teams in Taiwan activated coastal monitors. In the Philippines, coast guards patrolled harbors, warning fishermen to stay ashore. No one panicked. But everyone moved. Because here's the truth. The difference between safety and catastrophe is often measured in minutes. Lessons from history. Every earthquake carries the shadow of those before it. In Arniyi, the Tohoku earthquake sent a towering wall of water into Japan's northeast coast, taking more than 18,000 lives. In 2004, the Indian Ocean tsunami triggered by a magnitude 9.1 quake devastated 14 countries. In 2018, a flank collapse at Anak Krakatau sent a sudden wave into Java and Sumatra. No earthquake, no warning, only destruction. These memories shape every evacuation plan and every alert issued in 2025. The science of tsunami formation. Most tsunamis begin the same way. A fault ruptures, the seabed lifts or drops, and water must move to fill the gap. This creates a series of waves that travel across the ocean at jet-like speeds, slowing only when they reach shallow coastal water. But what made the 2025 alerts unusual was this. The displacement was subtle but persistent. It hinted at deeper movement, a long tectonic stretch rather than a sharp snap. Scientists at the University of Tokyo called it slow slip behavior, a phenomenon that can precede major earthquakes but can also occur harmlessly. The problem? There's no way to know which one it is in real time. Inside the coastal defenses across Asia, tsunami walls, breakwaters, and vertical evacuation towers stand as sentinels against the sea. Japan's walls in Tohoku stretch nearly 7 kilometers. Taiwan has reinforced its eastern coastline with new alert sirens and breakwaters. In the Philippines, communities in Bicol and Cagayan train yearly in evacuation drills branded "Run to the Hills." But even the strongest walls have limits. And communities know that the first line of defense is not concrete. It's awareness. The 2025 Pacific drills, the minor tsunami alert triggered something rare. A multinational coordinated drill. Japan ran coastal siren tests. Taiwan tested emergency broadcasting systems. The Philippines deployed rapid response teams along the eastern seaboard. Even Hawaii monitored wave changes across the Pacific basin. It wasn't a real disaster, but it was a rehearsal for the kind of event scientists warn will come someday. The human side of seismic vigilance. In a fishing village near Yilan, Taiwan, an old fisherman told reporters, "The sea speaks. Sometimes with a roar, sometimes with a whisper. Our job is to listen." In Japan, a teacher who survived 2011 helped her students practice climbing evacuation stairs. In Manila, coastal residents packed go bags: water, radios, flashlights, medicine, documents. Events like the 2025 warning don't create panic, they revive memory. How climate change complicates everything. Climate change doesn't cause earthquakes, but it does amplify risk in ways that matter. Rising sea levels mean future tsunamis start from a higher base. Stronger storms weaken coastal defenses built to stop waves. Subsidence, sinking land, from groundwater loss lowers entire cities. This means the next major quake doesn't need an enormous tsunami to cause enormous damage. A wave that once would have flooded a street could now flood a district. The unanswered question, as seismographs across Asia slowly returned to calm patterns, scientists reviewed the data. There was no catastrophic rupture, no major tsunami. Only the whisper of tectonic movement and a reminder of what lies beneath. Some asked, "Is this the beginning of a cycle?" Others answered, "This is the cycle. We live inside it. What comes next? The Pacific Ring of Fire will move again. A new fault line will rupture. Tides will shift, alarms will sound, and communities will head for higher ground. Not because they are afraid, because they are prepared." Closing narration. In the quiet that followed the 2025 alerts, calm waves lapped against the breakwaters of Asia's coasts. No disaster came that day. No devastation. Just a reminder, a pulse beneath the sea. A message from the earth itself. Stay ready. I have not finished my story. If you want more cinematic documentaries about the forces shaping our planet, subscribe. The next chapter begins where land meets water.